Say just after 2:30, you will hear from Thea Gilmore, massively talented singer-songwriter, 15 albums under her belt. And to give you a little taster, when she came in here, she sang 2 songs. She just stood up, belted out a couple of songs. Just her guitarist was next to her, and she sounded divine. And this is one of the songs, and it's called London. It might sound familiar because it was used in 2012. It was used as part of the BBC's Olympics coverage. So here's Thea Gilmore with London.
2, 1, 2, 3.
I am gonna call that number, though I don't really mean to wake you from your slumber while England is asleep. And the hotel is just like yesterday, and the city has no name. It just stands there in a grey haze. My room is the same. Well, I'm gonna call that number so far across the sea. I wish I was in London. That's where I wanna be. That's where I wanna be. I love it when you miss me. Well, I'm unhappy too. Please don't you forget me.
Radio Manchester, and now to Thea Gilmore. She's only in her mid-30s. She is onto her 15th album now. She started very young, releasing her first album when she was 18. She sung about love and heartbreak and growing up and becoming a mother. Her latest album is called Ghosts and Graffiti, and some of the greats from the world of not just folk, rock as well, like Springsteen and Joan Baez, they have really, really praised her. But Ghosts and Graffiti includes new material and also some older songs that Thea's re-recorded to bring them up to date. And when I met her, she said it felt good to her to mix up the old and the new.
It's a funny thing, actually. You know, I kept getting asked by a load of people, will you put a best of record out? Because I've got 14 albums out. This is the 15th now, and I can't bear best of albums. It always feels like, you know, the end of someone's career when you put a best of album out. But every time I was asked, I kept looking back at the old songs and, you know, songs that I'd written when I was 19 or 20 and thinking, actually, they are as relevant to me now as they were when I first wrote them, just in a different way now. And I sort of thought, well, what about re-recording them? What about asking some of my sort of musical compadres, my friends, to come and sing on them and guest on them? And then how about if I put them with some new songs as well, to sort of have the old and the new talking to each other and have a proper conversation, rather than this horrible old just looking back and kind of like harking back to as if those were the days, because my days are still in front of me, thankfully.
Yeah, but also I suppose in some ways it feels a bit lazy, doesn't it? You know.
Oh, completely.
Let's pick what. Oh, we haven't got anything new.
Yes, totally. No, there's plenty of new stuff out there. There's about 2 new albums waiting to be recorded.
Yeah.
But I just thought, you know, album 15, it sort of seemed like the right time to mark a kind of nice number like 15 with something that at least nods to my past, perhaps.
What about the 17-year-old, let's say you? What were your hopes and dreams as far as music was concerned?
The 17-year-old me genuinely didn't think that music careers happened to the likes of her. You know, I would watch people, you know, on TV playing music and think, well, yeah, that's for other people. And I kind of still think that sometimes. I can't quite believe my luck, really, that I've been doing it this long. And I think something that happens to an awful lot of musicians is that they start to feel, once they've been in the music business for a while, that the business owes them a living, that it owes them something. And I've never felt that. I've always felt insanely lucky to be doing this. And I sort of feel like it's never too far away that I'll have to be working in a supermarket or something. So I kind of just enjoy every second of it and think, you know, I'm just so lucky.
After all these years, you're kind of waiting for that tap on the shoulder then that says, right, there, your time's up, come on now, back to...
Absolutely.
Really?
And I think that's healthy, you know, because I think if you take it for granted, it will get taken from you. You've got to work, and you've got to work so hard to do this. You've got to apply yourself, you've got to have a really, really good, diligent work ethic. You can't just sort of swan around thinking that, you know, you're creative, therefore, you know, the world's going to support you. It doesn't work like that. It certainly doesn't work like that anymore.
Are you disciplined when you're writing songs? Do you give yourself, right, okay, I've got a week or a month or whatever it is to write this song and finish it off?
Yeah, I am really disciplined. I have to be. I've got 2 children. You've got to, everything has to fit into a schedule these days. But also it helps, it helps with the creativity, because it's like any writer will, any sort of novelist will tell you that the only way to write a novel is to write all the time and not stop, no matter whether you think you've got sort of divine inspiration or not. You've just got to sit down, you've got to keep writing.
Are you ever completely happy, totally satisfied with the song that you've crafted?
No. Nothing's ever finished, only abandoned. Who said that? Some very wise person said that. That's exactly what I feel. No, I abandon stuff, but I get it as good as I sort of feel I'm able to, and then you've got to let it go with love and I kind of like doing that as well, because it what people bring to the music as they're listening to it changes. Every song changes as it goes out into the world, and it kind of morphs and becomes something else, and I love that process. It's an ever evolving beast, a song, and I think that's actually really special. The community of music really comes forward when you kind of see a song evolve like that.
And she told me when she was here that when it comes to the music industry, she's really got her feet on the ground.
I am so lucky. I think I'm lucky with the time that I started as well, because we were just on the verge of the internet being a major player in music, but it wasn't quite where it is now, and so I had the benefit of being able to grow a sort of fan base from a real grassroots level, and they've come along with me, they've grown up with me. A lot of them have become journalists now, which is quite helpful.
Hey.
So it's brilliant. And yeah, I think if I said to me as a 17-year-old, you will still be doing this when you're 35, don't you? She'd be like, yeah, right. No, I don't think so.
And also your fans as well have probably done the same things you've done in round about the same time, so for perhaps become parents, and so obviously any life experiences you've had will be reflected in your music, and then that music speaks to the people who've had the same experiences.
That's right, yeah. And I think parenthood obviously affects everybody in very deep ways, and it certainly affected me in many deep ways, and you can hear that in my music, and people on several occasions come to me and say, oh, thank you for that song, because it got me through the nights of half an hour sleep at a time, and I like that. It's nice to feel that.
How old are your children now?
8 and 3.
And don't you help at school?
Yes, I do. I help to run a vocal group at school, which frightens me, actually, I have to say, because you've got these incredible children. They're just so unbelievable, these kids, and some of them are so deeply talented, and I'm sort of standing there, and I've got no teaching experience. I think teachers are both magical and insane, to be perfectly honest. I think you have to be crazy to be a teacher in the best possible way, but and I just look at these faces and think, if I mess this up, this is something that will stay with them for forever. I hope, in some respects, I hope that what we give them as a vocal group will they'll remember when they're just about to get their first job in their 20s or something like that.
Are you preparing for some kind of a performance with them?
Well, we do lots of performances with them. Yeah, there are quite a few festivals in my hometown, and so they've done most of them. They've done the majority of the festivals, but we don't. It's not kind of standard sort of choral stuff. We do lots of really interesting music. Like at the moment, we're learning James Bay, Hold Back the River, and we did Happy, which we were very good at. That's one of the favourites, and Pompeii, and they're brilliant at it. And we're talking the youngest is 7, and the oldest would be 11. So
do you
really
love
little.
doing that?
I love it and worry about it at the same time.
Are you a worrier?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But I couldn't write music if I wasn't. I'd be boring.
And you talk about your hometown, which why have you chosen to live in Cheshire? You live in Nantwich, don't you?
Just because I love it. I'm from Oxford originally, and my husband, who wasn't my husband at the time, but he lived up here, and I just sort of kind of had a choice between moving into London and living in a squat, basically, or moving up north to be with someone I loved and in a part of the country I loved, and it sort of seemed like a no-brainer. I didn't want to stay in Oxford because I didn't particularly like Oxford as a place to make music. It wasn't kind at the time that I was living there, and I love it up here. It's perfectly placed for me to do what I do. It's a brilliant position in the country, and it's just the nicest part of the country, and it's just brilliant.
See, I liked her even more as she said goodbye. Thea Gilmore then, actually, before she said goodbye, she just stood up and sang a song with her guitarist. And this song is called My Voice. It is from her new album, Ghosts and Graffiti, and it was originally a duet with Billy Bragg. But this is Thea Gilmore and My Voice. Yeah.
2, 1, 2, 3.
Well, here's a pen, boy, shall I write it down? Before the holy run is out of town. And here's the tired girls and the sea is rough. Sometimes dreaming just ain't enough. If you raised your eyes, then raise your hand. 'Cause they'll try to blindside you. They'll tell you that you never had a choice. Whatever this night brings, remember this is our democracy. I'll still be using my voice, my voice. I'll still be using my voice. I'll still be using my voice, my voice, my voice. I'll still be using my voice.
Told you she was great, didn't I? Thea Gilmore there, singing in the studio. I've just commented to Helen, my producer, that just could be a record. She was so good. Playing this Saturday at the Manchester Royal Northern College of Music. Thank you very much for your company. Sam Walker is with you next.